Good morning. Good morning, Promise Academy. Good morning, fourth graders. We're going to jump right into today's lesson. Let me adjust this camera, this computer. Okay, so we're going to jump right into today's lesson. You will definitely need to bring your construction paper, your piece of paper from your notebook. That will work. You need your pencil, marker, colored pen. If you don't have colored pen or colored pencils, just use a pencil. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Glue or tape and scissors. So again, if you don't have these materials, you can do the same project with us with using a pencil and just notebook paper. So don't worry about it. So go ahead and grab those materials and I am going to share our screen. So there we go. Let me start it from the beginning in presentation mode. All right, there it is. So today I am wanting to challenge you. We've spent this entire week working and correcting sentences with speaker tags. And we talked about speaker tags being in the beginning of a sentence, what to do when it's in the middle of the sentence. And that's the most challenging one, that one right there. So we're going to do that example first. And speaker tags at the end of a sentence. So speaker tag is at the end of a sentence. We also spent time using quotation marks. And I know that we have been working on that for quite some time. That's a skill that we're still having to practice because it's very, very tricky using quotation marks and commas. Oh, wow, it's so tricky. So I definitely want to make sure that we're taking our time with that. So our first sentence, read the sentence to yourself. Remember, I want you to read it silently to yourself so that when you read it out loud, you're able to sound like the character. Why do we do that? Well, it helps you to understand what the story is about or what the sentence is about. You're able to connect the tone, connect to the mood of the person who's speaking in the story or the sentence. So I see the sentence, I see the word happy, I see the word imagine, I see the word felt. So I have an idea how I should read that sentence. I'm going to practice. You can't imagine, she added, how happy I felt. Remember, when you see the speaker tag, you go back to your regular tone voice. I'm going to do that again. You can't imagine, she added, how happy I felt. So we know that the person in this sentence was really, really happy. Okay. So looking at this sentence, I see quotation marks here. I see a comma there. Like we just mentioned, we have a speaker tag right in the middle of the sentence. We have open quotation mark there, a closed quotation mark there, and we have a period. What I want you to do is to determine if this sentence is in fact written correctly, or do I need to make some changes to this sentence? So what I want you to do, go ahead and just pause the video, write the sentence in your notebook with the corrections. Or if you feel that it is written correctly, rewrite the sentence as is. So go ahead and pause the video right now. And then once you're done, start it back and we can discuss what we found. In this sentence, the first thing that I know that we need to do, rule number one, go ahead and underline the part that tells you that someone's speaking. Underline the quotation mark. Underline the conversation that's being had. So I am going to underline, you can't imagine how happy I felt. That's the first thing I always want you guys to do. Isolate the quotation, isolate what someone said, the part that we had to change our voice for. Underline it, because rule number two, step number two, we need to enclose that in quotation mark. So I need a quotation mark here. Uh-oh, I see something wrong. Oh my. Did you guys notice that? I just did. That is not a quotation mark. So that tells me right now this sentence is not written correctly. I tried to fool you guys. Oh, so we have our quotation mark here. Okay, so now we have to look at the second part of the sentence. The second quotation, we have our open quotation there, we have our closed quotation there, and I see a comma. Uh-oh, wait a minute, that comma doesn't look right. Doesn't look like it's in the correct place. I wonder what you guys think. Think time. If I remember from our discussion earlier this week, if the quotation mark comes before the speaker tag, the comma needs to go inside of the quotation mark. Uh-oh, it looks like I'm missing something right here. Oh, this sentence is definitely not written correctly. I have quotation mark here and I have a speaker tag there, and my quotation went after my speaker tag. So that means my comma goes outside of my quotation mark. Did any of you guys get this correct? With the correct punctuation. If not, it's okay. We have one more practice. Let's look at our second sentence. Same thing. I am wanting you to determine if this sentence is written correctly. I am trying to trick you guys. I'm trying to wake you up and trick my scholars. So rewrite the sentence and determine if your quotation marks, your commas, your punctuation, everything, if it's written correctly. Take the time right now, pause the video, and let's work this out. When I look at this sentence, it says, DiMaggio explained, we have a test today. DiMaggio explained, we have a test today. And I said exclamation mark. So DiMaggio was being really, really, really excited about this test. So the first step, remember, I'm going to continue to repeat myself with that because I want you to always remember the best way in determining your quotation marks and your commas. The first thing that I want you to do is to underline the part of the sentence that's a direct quotation. Underline the part of the sentence that's a direct quotation. Meaning that that's the part of the sentence where DiMaggio actually had something to say. What did DiMaggio say? He said, we have a test today. The second step that I wanted you to do is to place your quotation marks, because what was said needs to live inside of the open quote and close quote. Right in the middle of those two, you will have what was actually said. So I'm going to circle my quotation there. That is perfect. And I have a quotation there. Looks good so far. Now I need to determine where I need to place my comma. Here's my speaker tag, and my speaker tag came before my quotation. My quotation was after my speaker tag. So that means my comma goes outside of my quotation mark. So that is definitely correct. So far, this sentence looks good. I just noticed something. Did you guys notice what I did? Look at this sentence. I placed the exclamation mark on the outside of your quotation mark. We know that our ending mark goes inside of our quotation mark. Our quotation mark closes our sentence. It closes what was said. So we have a test today, exclamation mark, quotation. How he said it was my exclamation, and it should have been inside of my quotation mark. How many of you guys did well on these two sentences? If we still need more assistance with this, we're going to continue it on tomorrow. And we also are having some time next week working on this as well. So let's place that to the side and let's start talking about Diamante poems. Today's I can statement, I am going to allow you guys to read the I can statement. I can statements today, we're going to choose words that create contrasting images. So we're going to choose words that create contrasting images. And remember, contrast means things that are different, right? So we're going to choose words that create a different picture in our mind. Contrasting images. The word images mean pictures. Contrast means different pictures. We're also going to complete a well-crafted Diamante poem. So today you're going to become poets and you're going to write your first poem in my classroom. And it's called a Diamante poem. And it looks like this. This is my Diamante poem right here. Pretty cute, right? I know. The essential question today, and remember this essential question has been the question for the entire week, why do people write poetry? Take a moment, pause the video, and have conversations with anyone who's at your house. Explain why do you think people write poetry? And come back. And maybe on Dojo, you can message me and let me know what you guys said. What is a Diamante poem? What is a Diamante poem? Well, a Diamante poem is an unrhymed 7-line poem written in the shape of a diamond. There are two types of Diamante poem: synonyms, Diamantes, and antonym, Diamantes. So Diamante poems is a 7-line poem written in the shape of a diamond. And remember what 7 lines would look like in a poem. Lines, when we're talking about poems, look like sentences and stories, but in poems, we call them lines. So in our Diamante poem, we're writing 7-line poem. We're writing a 7-line poem, and this poem is called a Diamante poem. And once you're done, it's going to look like a diamond. Rules of a Diamante poem. So if you look at this, it kind of looks like a diamond so far, just looking at the rules. And once you start writing out the words, you will see the diamond forming. So rules of a Diamante poem. Again, Diamantes contain 7 lines. And I see my lines here. I have line 1, I have line 2, I have line 3, line 4, line 5, line 6, and line 7. And each line, it looks like we will have words for each line. So when I look at line 1, this is the first line, the first word, I need to select one noun. And we know that nouns name people, places, or things. Person, places, or things. We need one noun, so you will select one noun. Your second line, you will have 2 adjectives, and we know that adjectives are words that describe the subject. So we need 2 words to describe our noun, whatever noun that you decided. Line 2, we need 2 adjectives describing that subject, describing your noun, describing the person, the place, or the thing that you selected in line 1. Line 3, we need 3 words ending in ing relating to the subject. 3 words ending in ing relating to the subject. Line 4, we need 2 more adjectives describing the subject, and this is the tricky part right here, we need 2 adjectives describing its opposite. So line 4, I'm changing it up a little bit. I need 2 adjectives describing the subject and 2 adjectives describing its opposite. And we know that opposite means the antonym. Line 5, 3 words ending in ing relating to the opposite, relating to line 4, the end of line 4, relating to that antonym. Line 6, 2 adjectives describing the opposite of the subject. Line 7, 1 opposite noun. So that sounds like a lot, doesn't it? I'm going to allow you guys an opportunity to pause the video and write this down, write the rules down, because once we begin building our words, I want you to have the definition for a noun and an adjective right in front of you. So go ahead and pause the video. And then once you're done writing, taking your notes, then come back, join us on the video so that we can start creating our Diamante poem. Okay? Perfect. I have my Diamante poem right here. This is the Diamante poem that I created. So in my Diamante poem, I decided that my noun would be lion. This is my subject. I decided to use lion, a lion. My line 2, I needed to have 2 adjectives describing my lion. So how did I describe my lion? As being majestic and proud. So these are my 2 adjectives that I select for my noun. Again, my noun is lion. My line 2, needing 2 adjectives, I described my lion as majestic and proud. Line 3, I needed to select 3 words ending with ing. 3 words ending with ing. My 3 words I selected were roaring, snarling, prowling. So line 3, 3 words ending in ing. And again, everything is relating back to my lion. So I'm saying my lion roaring, it's snarling, it's prowling. You know, lions be on the prowl. Line 4, I needed 2 words describing lion. So I put mane, I put muscle, and now my next 2 words here describes the opposite. I need 2 words that are the opposite of lion. 2 words that are the opposite of mane and muscle. So I chose fleece and fluff. Line 3, I need 3 words ending in ing, but they're the opposite of lion. So now this part, starting in line 4, I began thinking of another subject, another noun that was opposite of lion. So right here, I started to flip the switch, like CSU says, and I began describing the opposite of lion. Line 5, I'm still describing the opposite of lion by using 3 words ending in ing that are different than lion. So bleeding, leaping, grazing. So we're looking at what's different. How are they opposite? Line 6, I need 2 words describing the opposite of the subject. 2 words that describes the opposite of the subject. I chose meek, I chose gentle. My last word right here is the antonym of a lion. I chose sheep. So if you look at my words when I started to write words that are opposite of lion, I began describing a sheep. Isn't that pretty cool? So I want you guys to pause the video, write down this example of a Diamante poem in your notebook so that you have a form of reference. Do that. Now, I want to spend time talking about another Diamante poem. So I have another example. This is another example that I created. And what I did, I wrote all of my words, my noun, my 2 adjectives. I wrote them on colored paper here. And I decided to cut them. So I wrote them, then I cut them, and I placed them on a different paper, a different diamond. So go ahead and cut out a diamond. Cut out a diamond. So I have my diamond here. Actually, what I did, I had a square, and if you turn it on its side, you now have a diamond. Really, really cool, right? So my first word, my noun that I chose was monster. So if you cut it out, glue it onto your Diamante poem. Have monster there. My second line, so now I need to start looking at my second line. I need 2 adjectives describing the subject. So I decided on, because I'm describing monster, I decided on spooky. Oh, that's pretty in there, isn't it? There it goes. Crazy, right? I decided on spooky and evil. And I'm putting it on my, so if you don't have scissors or construction paper, that's fine. You can go ahead and just write it. You'll be able to just write it. So I have monster, spooky, and evil. My third line says 3 words ending in ing relating to the subject. So I use welling. Put that down here. I use shrieking. Put that here. And I use howling. Perfect. So you see, my Diamante poem is already almost completed, and it's already starting to take effect. So I'm not going to continue finishing this. I want you guys to continue finishing yours. At the end, you will have a Diamante poem with all of your words where you can post this and hang this anywhere in your house. I say, ask mom if you can put it on the refrigerator. It's pretty cool, right? And you will have a completed Diamante poem. So once you're done, you guys, take pictures of it, have moms to upload it to Dojo, share your work, and then tomorrow I will share your Diamante poems. Again, you guys, Diamante poems are unrhyming words that have 7 lines. So that's the most important thing, that you know that you have 7 lines. And we know that lines are like sentences in stories, but in poems, they're called lines. And your lines will have adjectives and nouns in there and words ending in ing, and you are going to have words that are different from the words that you're starting with. So you're going to have antonym words. But before I end, I do want to share how I ended my Diamante. So I started with monster, and I decided to end with angel. Monster, and I decided to end with the word angel. So again, you guys, let me know if you need any assistance with this. Can't wait to see what you have. I will see you on tomorrow.